Well, to discuss the US election a little further, I'm joined now by the former Democratic Congresswoman and former CEO of the Democratic National Committee, Amy Dacey, and also by Pastor Mark Burns, Donald Trump's pastor. Great to have you both with us. Really appreciate you taking the time. I think you're going to have different opinions on quite a lot of the subjects we're going to be discussing, but let's start by talking about what we just heard in that report is the top concern amongst American voters, and I'm talking about the economy. Amy, let me put it to you first of all. Are Americans better off now than they were 4 years ago?
Well, some are, and there's still room for more to be done. And I think that's what the Harris campaign is trying to elevate. Well, there's been certainly some significant advances during the Biden administration. She has visions about cutting taxes for middle-class families, making rent more affordable, growing small business and investing in entrepreneurs, taking on bad actors, bringing down costs. So she set out a real distinct set of policies to move forward, capitalizing on some of the advancements that you saw through the first Biden administration.
Pastor Burns, what's your opinion? Americans better off now than they were when Donald Trump left office?
Well, Americans are worse off since Joe Biden's economic policies has helped destroy America. The Green New Deal has almost the cost of living and inflation is all because of the Harris-Biden policies in which Kamala Harris will continue on. And Americans see this. I bet the fact that 46,000 manufacturing jobs just last month and 85,000 jobs in the past 6 months are killed because of the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris policies. And so the American people are realizing that manufacturing in America is at all-time decline. But under President Trump, that was the complete opposite. And under President Trump, jobs were growing amongst the Black community. The historical low unemployment rate amongst Black people, amongst Hispanic, amongst women. The prosperity of America was at an all-time high under the Trump policies because, again, he's a businessman. He understands economics, unlike these backstabbing, non-job creating politicians like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Donald Trump understands how to create jobs for Americans, and he done it before, and American people see that he'll do it again.
Amy, backstabbing, non-job creating politicians. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think it's the unfortunate rhetoric that you see coming out of Trump and his supporters. I mean, these are some people that have been in public service for a long time. Certainly Vice President Kamala Harris, Governor Walz.
Exactly.
These are people who've been seeing things, with the public service that they've done. And I think this is the destructive narrative that has been created by the Trump presidency, and we can't afford to see it again. There's definitely things that happened, under the Trump presidency. We were in the middle of a global pandemic where decisions made by that administration had terrible ramifications. And the bottom line, he might be a businessman, but he's more, interested in helping out corporate America and the people who make the very most in the country, rather than helping people really with their bread and butter at the dinner table kind of issues that they're dealing with. Even some of the, things he wants to do on trade will not necessarily help. And all the damage that he wanted to do to the Affordable Care, Act doesn't really resonate and understand the everyday challenges that Americans are facing, which definitely the Harris-Walz campaign can address and will address in the next 4 years.
Pastor Burns, I mean, looking at it from the outside in, we're talking about a country, the United States, with an unemployment rate of about 4%, which isn't too bad. Inflation's down to about 2.4% from a double-digit high a couple of years ago. I mean, is it really that bad?
Oh, it's extremely bad. I mean, again, you got to talk to the everyday people that she spoke about. And I'm happy that the Congresswoman stated that they have been in politics for a very long time. And that's true. They've been in politics for a very, very long time, and nothing has changed. This is why the American people want Donald Trump back. I mean, listen, people start attacking Donald Trump when they don't really have policy to back it up. But the reality of it is, under President Trump, gas prices fell $1 a gallon, right? Gas prices are up under the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. The Green New Deal has destroyed our ability to become energy efficient and independent, on our own. It is costing us countless of American dollars, and the ridiculous spending in these wars in Ukraine that the Democrats are putting forward, while yet Americans in North Carolina cannot get the funding that they need because FEMA runs out of money. So American lives are dying at the hands of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden for our natural disasters that just took place, while billions of dollars have been sent to Ukraine, backed by Democrat policies. Again, the priority and the narrative shares to the American person is that Democrats care more about illegal immigration, putting illegal immigrants in apartment buildings and in hotels, while our American citizens we're having to donate RVs and recreational vehicles to house some of these people. This is not some poor rhetoric. These are things that are happening right here on the ground. And the Kamala Harris and the Joe Biden administration are so far moved away from the regular American person, the rank and file, the hardworking American that puts on his boots and goes to work every day. They're so distracted from their desire to please foreign policies and foreign governments than the American citizen, which is why the border is wide open, which is why illegals are coming through by the droves. And the American people are tired of it. Again, we're talking about people at the border who are getting kidnapped and raped. Drugs are coming in. Children are being mutilated and being sold into sex trafficking, all under the watch of a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris weak immigration policy. That too is affecting the economy, and Americans are tired of it. More importantly, Black people in America are tired of it. I mean, Malcolm X warned us about the white liberal. The white liberal that Malcolm X said is a danger to the Black man. They pretend to be for the Negro, Malcolm X said. They pretend to be for the Black Negro, while all they're using the Black Negro. They're using the Black man. They're using it for their own agenda, and they pit the Black man against the conservative, right? This is exactly what we see being played out in American politics, and they're using a black face by the name of a person of color by Kamala Harris, and then they have white liberals like this Congresswoman that is on right now to simply continue to oppress Black people and pushing policies that are contrary to our wealth and our well-being.
All right,
yeah, let's.
Donald Trump,
First of all, I'm not a member of Congress, and second, he doesn't get to label me as a liberal. He doesn't get to label me and my positions. So
well, you are
it's
liberal.
fine if he wants to talk about what the Trump
You're white liberal.
potential administration. But it's this divisiveness, certainly, that the leaders of the Democratic ticket are definitely fighting for everyday Americans. It's the self-interest of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance that is really tearing apart the country. So again, I am not a member of Congress, and I don't appreciate to be labeled in any such way as a liberal when you don't
excuse
have
me.
any
I thought they said it was a congresswoman that I was addressing. I apologize. But the reality of it is, the fact of the matter is, you are a white liberal, and you do use the black face. You do use the black voice.
What my background
you do,
is,
the Democratic Party
and
uses
you don't
the
get to
black
label
voice,
me as just
and
as I won't
that's the
label you
only
on
way
this
that they can win on a national level is by going after the
Pastor
black
Burns,
voice. And
Pastor
American
Burns,
people are
Pastor
tired of
Burns,
it.
Pastor Burns, respectfully, you raised lots of points just now. Let's listen to Amy Dacey and let her have a chance to respond to some of them. Notably, what you started by talking about, which was wars, money, a lot of money being spent on wars. That money could be better spent at home. How do you respond to that, Amy?
Well, I definitely think that has to be, whoever wins this election has to address the issues that are happening globally, both in Ukraine and also, in the Middle East. It is certainly Congress in a bipartisan fashion that has passed funding that goes to these places. So I think it is a conversation between Congress and a new administration. So there is other people who also make these decisions as we move forward. I don't think that there's any disagreement that there has to be investment made for people who are, in the United States, who are suffering, who are trying to make do. But when asked about those policies, Donald Trump said that he hadn't even really addressed them yet because he wasn't really the president. So he doesn't have solid answers when it comes to this. Certainly, the Harris, Walz ticket has literally put out ideas that will be policies that help people. Let's get, to affordable housing. Let's talk about how we can make sure that the people getting the tax credits are the ones that actually need that. Let's put up a program that helps with college affordability. Let's make sure that Social Security and Medicare are not, torn down. These are the issues they're talking about every day. They're talking about them in the states, in the battleground states, and certainly their volunteers and their campaign operatives are talking about it on the doors. This is very different than what you're hearing in the Trump-Vance, rallies that are happening throughout these states.
Okay.
Well, the answer is very simple. It's very simple. The president has already made his point very clear. We need to stop spending. I mean, we're sending $80+ billion to Ukraine, where that money could have been spent right here on to Americans, could have been spent on the border, allowing the Border Patrol to do their job, right? But instead, Democrats want to spend money on making sure that transgenders receive sex changes while in federal prison, paid by us Americans. They want to see that children be mutilated and have their sex changed against their parents' will and be paid for by us, the American citizens. This is the ridiculous spending that Democrats are doing, which has put us in a position to where the cost of living is so much higher for American citizens. She keeps talking about the rich and the wealthy and the tax cuts for, listen, Americans are suffering, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has 4 years. I mean, she is the vice president of the United States of America right now. Why wait till the election? But she could have made these changes now. It is a simple answer. Stop the spending, the ridiculous spending. Stop spending money on illegal immigrants. Stop giving them social programs if they're not citizens, and have that money specifically designed for the veterans of America, for the citizens of the American people. That's how we simply change the economy. But Democrats want to continue to spend. Ridiculous spending on things that has nothing to do about the well-being of the citizens of this great nation.
Social Security, Medicare, affordable housing are all things that our people want, and there should be spending on. So I disagree. I think there's a plan in place. I don't think that there's any vision from the Trump-Vance ticket, and certainly there hasn't been any details showed to us about how they will make lives better. Certainly Donald Trump had 4 years of opportunity to try and make a difference, and he didn't.
And he did that. He most definitely made a difference. To sit there and suggest that Donald Trump did not make a difference is preposterous. Again, the white liberal is speaking like for the American people. And the reality of it is
both of you.
Donald Trump most definitely made a difference in the economy.
Pass the Burns.
And the American people realize that's why he's leading in the polls. They don't want to go back.
Both of you, can we move on? Can we move on from the economy?
In America.
We've started off by talking about the economy. I gave Amy the first word.
Killing themselves because of weak
Amy had the first word.
Biden.
Amy had the first word on the economy. Let's move on to another topic, and I'll give you the first word this time, Pastor Burns. Donald Trump yesterday said, "This is a crooked country. We're going to make it straight." Why is the United States a crooked country?
Again, because Democratic policies are spending money or treating foreigners and people who are not citizens and the interests of the global elites instead of the citizens of the United States of America. That's what it means to make America great again, to make America safe again. The massive immigration, illegal immigrants that are coming over. The FBI stated over 700,000 violent crimes are happening a year due to immigrants, illegal immigrants, excuse me. We're talking about rapes and murders and drug trafficking that is happening, kidnapping that is happening right here on American soil because of the Kamala Harris, who is the supposedly border czar, who did a poor job in making sure that our border is protected under their policies. That's what Donald Trump means when he says the country is crooked, and we have to make it straight again.
All right, let's let Amy respond to that. Amy, the United States is a crooked country. Donald Trump is going to fix it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think that certainly Donald Trump should be having any character conversations around, people of integrity. I mean, this is somebody who doesn't have any. He doesn't really care about, being a public servant and representing everybody in this country. I think that his ego is getting in the way here. I think there's a lot of great public servants that are working really hard to try and solve problems every day. What we need is people on both sides of the aisle to come together and work on these solutions. I think the division and the narrative that Donald Trump creates, that if you don't agree with him, you're an enemy, from the enemy within comments, other things he's made, is not going to help us get through this election, is not going to help us all come together to work on these issues together. You need, in this divided country, in this divided Congress, you're going to need bipartisan support to do this. And so certainly I don't really think that Donald Trump's the leader who's going to get that done. I don't think he's the individual who can make sure that we're solving some of these difficult problems that we're facing, not only domestically, but globally as well.
Okay, Amy, I want to put another question to you. Pastor Burns.
The divisive language that Joe Biden said. So I guess that when Joe Biden said, "You ain't black," unless if you vote for Donald Trump, you ain't black. Right? Again, you give this white liberal the power to say, I guess that's not divisive at all, right? To suggest that a black person isn't intelligent enough and educated enough to vote for policies. We got to vote for emotion. So this is coming from your camp. This is coming from the Democratic camp. It is President Trump who's realizing that when the tide rises, all the boats rise with it. The divisiveness is
With all due
coming from your
respect,
end.
Pastor,
Secondly,
there is not a single Democrat this week that said that they wanted to point a gun at somebody's face.
She didn't really respond about the policy that President Trump has put forward. She attacked his character. That's what Democrats do. They don't have an answer. They're not talking about, education.
I talked repeatedly about the policies today, Pastor.
They're talking about Donald Trump's character. So she responds to the character, and the people are fed up with it. They realize that it's a foolish ploy that Democrats keep pushing forward.
If you both speak at once, we can't hear either of you. If you both speak at once, we can't hear either of you.
So I was talking, and she started talking. So I'm going to complete my statement. She was talking about the character of Donald Trump, not about how we making America great again, how he made America great again. It wasn't under Donald Trump that the cost of living went high. It wasn't under Donald Trump that the border has run rampant and people are dying at the border. It wasn't under Donald Trump that the cost of that people are owning not owning homes or owning businesses. It is under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Bidenomics that has caused America to be in this horrible, let me finish, this horrible economic status that we're currently in because of the ridiculous spending of the Democrats that your candidate, Kamala Harris, wants to continue into the next administration. That's why we're winning in almost every battleground state in the early voting. We are winning because America is tired of this weak character assassination attempt by liberals who keep only talking about the character when the reality.
Pastor Burns, we've only got 30 seconds left. Pastor Burns, we've got 30 seconds left. Amy, you're going to have the last word. Go for it.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to the election because I do think that policies, that ideas, that positivity will win out over this negativity and this divisiveness that unfortunately we've been facing for the last 10 years.
All right, we're out of time. I'm really sorry. There were loads of other things I wanted to ask you both about. I think we could have talked all night, but we don't have all night.
We're winning.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
People know that. We're
all right. All right, Pastor Mark Burns, thank you very much indeed. Amy Dacey, thanks to you as well.